All right, baby. Going live, going live, going live. All right. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And why are the Washington Commanders 0-16? Because they suck. They really suck. No explanation needed. The Washington Commanders suck. And welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But plus also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. First one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, right? What do you got to lose? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, a little ways down in the description box. Yes, a little ways down. There's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It'll be Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. It'll be Twitter 3 trillion years from now, where I'm long gone. I'm an old-time fart. I hate change. Get off my lawn. I'm one of them old-time farts, right? It's a Twitter link. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And then the link just above it, as I was mentioning, it takes you to my Facebook page. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. We have over 7,900 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Almost at 8,000. Almost. We're getting there. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in here, but the members post stuff in here in the group as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a boatload. There's a ton. There's an awful lot of New York Giants information going in this group every day. Darn near 365. Please join it. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, well, go on. Good time out here. Got to move the chair for my buddy Randy. He woke up. He was napping. I started screaming, and he woke up. All right, Randy's here. We can continue. So, all right. Well, a lot of news. One of them also, I'm not going to go over too much but I keep seeing the reports and all about apparently the Giants aren't going to franchise tag Saquon, and I'm not sure where they're getting that stuff from and everything. Because Shane did say that we're going to talk to Saquon's his representatives, like next week. So I don't know where they're getting their, reports. I mean, they still have plenty of time and all, because they were talking about meeting his representatives at the combine and then, see if they can work something out and then make a decision from there and all. So I don't know, it's like, if anything, it seems like anything's being talked about Saquon, it just seems like it's a little premature because, as I said, Shane was talking about meeting with his representatives next week. So, I mean, as far as I know, they haven't made any, so not that I have any inside information, but I mean, that's what Shane said. He's talking with his representatives next week. So I don't know where they're getting this stuff that, it doesn't look like they're going to franchise tag him or anything. But anyways, a whole boatload of stuff to talk about here. Now, apparently, I mean, one thing, and this does make some sense here. This makes a little bit more sense now with Bowen. I mean, you could, I could see this making sense with Patrick Graham, because let's not forget, right? It was a 2021, Xavier's second season, especially under Patrick Graham, because his rookie season, remember, he got injured and he missed a bunch of time. In the beginning, it was his foot, I think he broke. But in his second season, he had a good year, right? Obviously, this past season, man, he played in every snap. I mean, the dude was a freaking warrior. He would have played. I don't know how many snaps he would have played, the year before if he hadn't, only on a bye week. And Giants guys without no practice, no game, none of this, none of that. Only can Giant players get injured when there's nothing going on. But anyway, I mean, he still had a very good season this year, without question. But, that's, Wink, had him doing some different things. Obviously, he was a little more down in the box, right? Which is maybe not, to his strong suit. With Bowen, right? And I'm going to go over possibly with the transition tag the Giants might wind up thinking about slapping on Xavier. Might make a little more sense with Bowen, because Bowen might have Xavier, back more, where he can, scan the field. Everything's in front of him, right? You can pick and choose. Well, not pick and choose, but I mean, he's got stuff in front of him. That seems like where he's at his best. And with Bowen, the new defensive coordinator, that might make the most sense. Maybe trying to keep him around instead of maybe Saquon, because let's not, Saquon is a little bit older. Xavier is going up, right? Saquon, I'm saying he's coming down, but Saquon's leveled off. Saquon's not. That's not happening with Saquon. Okay, it's gonna be what, a 7th season. We're getting toward the back 9. Saquon, maybe on the 12th hole or so of the Saquon career. So I mean, as far as Saquon, his not certainly not to say he's going to go out to pasture or anything like that, but his best days are behind him. If he can stay healthy, don't get me wrong. If he can stay healthy, right? If we can ever get some resemblance of an offensive line where they can actually block and, hey, pick up a stunt or a twist, wouldn't that be phenomenal, huh? Oh my God. It's like you get toward the end of the season, you know what I mean? And they call the signals and they call the snaps and the guys are blocking, and then like somebody just, they do the stunt or the twist or whatever. And somebody runs right by the guy's like, well, what was that? Was I supposed to get that guy? Was that you? I mean, it was like Night at the Roxbury with like Will Ferrell looking at his, is that me, you, me? Oh my goodness. But I mean, without question, if we can ever get any resemblance of an offensive line, right? Maybe, as I said, maybe once a theory relatively, everything's all relative. Maybe if that pick 6, we draft the dog, we get the number 1 wide receiver, right? That's gonna open things up, right? Like Odell Beckham Jr., right? I mean, you had to play the whole freaking field once he was on. Right? He opened stuff up big time, right? And let's not forget, right? Saquon's his best season, his rookie season. Of course, we did have Mike Pat Shermer calling the plays, and he got over 90 receptions, over 2,000 all-purpose yards, right? But Odell Beckham Jr. was on the field too. Helps open stuff up, right? So, my question, I'm certainly not saying that, Saquon, he'll be lucky to get 1,000 total yards. No, but, it does, he's going to need some help, his speed, his breakaway speed and all that. You can start, it's not what it used to be and everything. But it does seem like possibly, at least from these reports anyway, seems like the Giants, are not going to give up on the Xavier just yet. Which is a little different from what I was, thinking or hearing, a few weeks ago. Well, I'm saying because now that we still have, let's not forget Javarius Owens. He did not dress all the time last year, but we got Belt and we got Pinnock and all. But under this new, so with Bowen, McKinney could thrive and survive in his new in the Bowens system. So the Giants, they can afford him. They can afford Xavier, right? And I said he's on the way up. He's on the the man is on the way up. And I'd hate to lose either guy. I'd really hate to lose either guy. The thing that stinks is that we need some stars on our team. Obviously we got to keep drafting and get some. We need some more talented guys and everything. But the problem is, you draft a couple talented guys, cool, yeah, but then you lose the Saquon and Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson. It's like take 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, right? So it would be nice if you can, at least keep one of these guys. Let's see here. Says here, from the New York Post, the most compelling pending free agent for the Giants is Saquon Barkley, but the most critical to their future success could quite possibly be Xavier McKinney. And it's true. And that is true. The price tag for 24-year-old, he's only 24 years old, right? 24-year-old safety is going to soar higher than what Barkley will eventually command. And there is certainly a belief with the organization that investing in a back-end defender entering his prime is smarter than putting money into a running back heading into his 7th NFL season. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, it never hurts. Obviously, every position is very crucial, but it never hurts, the back end of the defense. Just say you got 5 guys back there, right? Say you got your 2 safeties and your 3 corners, or however you want to look at it. You could have 3 safeties, 2, right? But if you keep Xavier, he's a star. You got Deonte Banks, he's a star, right? One of the things also is you draft the guys, you develop them, you keep your guys, and you move forward, right? And it'd be a shame to have Xavier go elsewhere, but once again, it's a business. It is a business. The Giants could keep Barkley or McKinney off the open market, but they are unlikely to do so, especially with Barkley's franchise tag price at $12.1 million and McKinney's franchise tag costed $16.2. There is another option the Giants will consider. They will negotiate with McKinney's representatives, and if a deal cannot get done, there is no reason to believe an agreement will be reached. They have until March 5th to apply the lesser-used transition tag on him. That is a possibility, the Post has learned. Okay, so somewhere along the line, from Paul Schwartz. I'm not sure if he's the one that learned that or not or whatever, but got some inside sources there saying the Giants might put the transition tag on Xavier. It would cost the Giants $13.9 million, a nice savings from the franchise tag of a little over $2 million. The transition tag allows the player, this is fair, I like this, to negotiate with any other team and come up with a deal, with the Giants having the ability to match that offer sheet and retain the player. Okay. It's like go out, see what you got, see what they're going to offer, and we'll see, right? See if we can, work out a deal. And as I said, the nice thing, is that, if they can work out something long term, I mean, with him, you could see possibly a 4-year deal. With Saquon, the most they would give him would be a 3-year deal. But the nice thing about with Xavier, I could see a 4-year deal, right? But then what you do is you give him a sign and whatever. I don't know, whatever. 16 million, 15 million, just say 15 million. Keep it easy, right? 15 million, whatever. 4 years, 60 million. I don't know what. 35 guaranteed, right? Something like that. But what you do is you give him a nice signing bonus, right? So now you can add that signing bonus. He signs it, so he gets a chunk of money up front also. But then you can break that signing bonus up into like 4 years. So now his cap hit, instead of like 15 million, just saying this season, can maybe bring it down to like 7, something like that. And obviously, the salary cap is going to keep going up. So, the next season is, say his salary cap jumps up to 17 or something, it's not quite as bad, right? Because the salary cap's going up, right? And then the following season, say his salary goes up to 18 or whatever, 19 or so, but the salary cap's still going up. The following year, last year of his contract, if you kind of keep him, whatever his salary might be, say 20. But once again, so it's not that hard to swallow. Especially if you can keep him on your team. You got a young freaking stud. He's not the greatest safety in all of football, but he's in the top handful. Let me tell you what. And when you got, it's a freaking shame. Man, that's the thing I really, I don't like about pro football. It's very difficult, to keep all your players. It's tough. It is tough. Let's see. It says, in fact, the Giants would put the transition tag on McKinney, their 22nd round pick. Another team will determine what the market is willing to pay him, and the Giants can then decide if that contract fits with their valuation of the player. If the Giants do not match the offer, McKinney is gone, and the Giants do not receive any compensation in return now. So that's where it hurts. No compensation. If you were to leave, okay, right, via free agency, and they would get some compensation in return. And for him, it depends upon. See, it all depends upon what do the Giants, what do they sign, who did they lose, right? But I mean, with him, you could, if they lost him, you could certainly see them getting a 3rd round compensation pick next season if they were just to lose him in free agency, right? Let's see. If the transition tag is used, the Giants and McKinney can continue to work toward a long-term deal. There does not seem to be any ambiguity in a recent post by McKinney on his X account as to what he is thinking as far as what his worth is. He's like, I want to be respected. I want to be appreciated. My bad. Right? I want to be appreciated. And he talks about things, but you never see, so and so, the top safeties making 18 million. I should be right around that. This thing, you don't see any dollar signs. So, and I don't, so it's tough to say. Is he thinking about the top dollar amount? Is he, obviously thinking it's maybe just a little bit below that? That you don't know. It sounds as if McKinney believes he adhered to the defensive scheme given to him by the coaching staff, which he did. Yep. Even if that scheme did not always allow him to showcase the full extent of his talents. No, it did not. Likely example of what McKinney is referring to is his career high 5 interceptions in 2021 with Patrick Graham. operating in more of a playmaking role in a defensive scheme under Patrick Graham's system. McKinney had a total of 3 interceptions in 26 games in the past 2 seasons under Wink Martindale. Often assigned the deep half of the field, tasked with preventing big plays against the Giants' defense. But then, of course, there's been a couple of hiccups with McKinney. He missed 7 games in 2022 after his all-terrain vehicle accident while on a vacation during the bye week left him with a mangled left hand. Last season, McKinney, one of 10 team captains, complained about a lack of communication between the players and the coaches on defense. Well, to be fair, okay, he might have been talking about Wink Martindale. Okay, where's Wink at now? He's gone. Okay, so to be fair, he might have had a valid point when he was, he was complaining about the lack of communication. It did create a distraction, okay, between Martindale and, with Martindale and all. But, once again, he might have been talking about Martindale. So, McKinney made it clear that the day after the season ended where he believes he ranks as an NFL safety, telling the Post he is the best one out there. So I'm not so sure about that, but he's in the top handful. That is for sure. He graded out as the 4th best safety in the league in 2023, according to Pro Football Focus. Once again, right? He's not that, but some of those highest graded out guys are not the highest paid guys. Okay. He graded out behind Jesse Bates of the Falcons, Antoine Winfield of the Bucks, Javon Holland of the Dolphins. The number 5 rated safety was Kyle Hamilton, the kind of like the Swiss Army knife, the guy from Notre Dame, who the Ravens drafted. Bates and Hamilton both averaged $16 million per year, and that seems as if it should be the bar for McKinney to try to vault. It is unlikely he will be able to reach the highest paid players at the position. Derwin James of the Chargers is $19 million a season. Minkah Fitzpatrick of the Steelers, $18.2, and Jamal Adams of the Seahawks, $17.5. That would be, I'd have a hard time seeing him trying to get like $18 or $19 million. Winfield and McKinney are both pending free agents and will attract attention if they hit the open market. Kyle Duggar of the Patriots, Cameron Curl of the Commanders, and Geno Stone of the Ravens are all starting safeties who could be available. The Giants have a new defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen. So, McKinney makes the Giants better. How much they are willing to pay for that remains to be seen. So, it is a little tricky. You put the transition tag on them, cheaper. You save yourself some money. All right, go out there if you can't work. Go out, see what you can get, see what you're worth, see what somebody's willing to pay. Right? If somebody's willing to blow him out of his contract, just blow it out of the water. I will offer you 18 a year or something like that. That might be a bit too much for the Giants. They let him go, but the problem is, there's no compensation in return for that. That's what stinks. But if you just wanted to lose them, and I would say it's a kind of a numbers thing and all. It depends upon how many the compensation picks they would to get in return. But if they lost more as far as the free agents they would lose as far compared to the amount of free agents they bring in. They would get some compensation in return, and they could quite possibly, if they were to lose him in free agency, they could quite possibly get like a 3rd round pick from him. Now, if they were just, right, let Saquon and McKinney go, those would be 2. They would get some nice compensation, and could quite possibly get some nice compensation in return for losing those 2 guys. Same thing like with Adoree Jackson, right? Isaiah Simmons. If they lost Isaiah Simmons, Adoree Jackson, if all they did was sign like maybe a guard, a couple lower price guys, and return the Giants, and next season we'll get some nice compensation for that comp picks. But But it's true. I mean, exactly. McKinney certainly makes the Giants better. All right. And then and so it is here. And this makes some sense too, right? Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. This is Big Blue View. Mike Kafka was willing to leave the Giants for a lateral position. And it does make sense. It says, after the conclusion of the 2023 season with the Giants, there was much speculation about the future of several assistant coaches on the staff of the Giants. The Giants parted ways with Wink and Thomas McGahee, but the status of offensive coordinator Mike Kafka remained unknown. Reports had surfaced about the second-year offensive coordinator future with the team and his relationship with Brian Daboll. The Giants' offense struggled in year 2 under Kafka, finishing 29th in total yards per game, 31st in passing yards per game, and averaged just 15 points per game, third worst in the league after averaging 21.5 points the previous season. Well, there are reasons why they took a tumble. But, I mean, obviously when you get numbers like that, it's kind of hard to, really, I don't know, see whether there be an overwhelming amount of, attention he'd be garnering from other teams. But he was still, without question, he was still wanted. And, as of just recently, he was, as we see here, quite possibly the Seattle Seahawks. It says, while the Giants had no intentions to move on from Kafka, the 36-year-old assistant coach would go on to interview for the vacant head coaching positions of the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans. Ultimately, the end result is that Kafka will return for a third season as offensive coordinator and was even elevated to assistant head coach. That's because the Seahawks wanted to see if he maybe do a lateral move, go from the Giants to the Seahawks as their offensive coordinator. But the Giants blocked that because it was just a lateral move. And then they elevated it. They threw in the assistant head coach on the end of his business card. And I'm sure they gave him a nice little raise as well, too. Let's see. According to Brian Dunleavy, Kafka was looking to leave the Giants. But once again, you got that does make some sense here. What they're talking about here. There have been reports of a strained relationship between Kafka and Brian Daboll. Okay, Dunleavy's sources indicated Kafka was seeking a lateral position as an offensive coordinator elsewhere. This is because he believes that Daboll will call plays in 2024, and I can understand that from Daboll's point of view. Meaning he would essentially be demoted, right? Therefore, becoming an offensive coordinator would play calling duties somewhere else would be seen as a better opportunity for him. Well, he wants to call plays, right? So now, because, and once again, I'm going to go over this in a sec with Daboll, but, Daboll's probably going to be calling. So I'm going to be here, the offensive coordinator, this, that, and the other. But I want to call plays. Right? If I can't call plays here, I'll go someplace else where I can call plays. Right? It says, I don't know how bad the relationship is, but there's reporting by some of the other reporters on the beat that talks about some of the things where they butted heads. But I guess from Dunleavy, he says, some of my sources told me Kafka wanted to become an offensive coordinator somewhere else because he believes that Brian Daboll will be the offensive play caller this year. While Kafka was given the title of assistant head coach to go along with returning as the offensive coordinator, Dunleavy believes that this reason Daboll will take over play calling duties could be because the pressure will be faced. Yes, the pressure that Daboll will be under in 2024. Dunleavy says, my sources told me Daboll calling plays during the second half of the Arizona game. We had a historic comeback. Daboll's calling plays. Right? Look what we did in the first half compared to the second half. Daboll takes over play calling. We even lose Saquon Barkley, right, in that game. Right? No Andrew Thomas. Saquon, this, that, and the other thing, right? And we had a historic comeback, right? And I do know Brian Daboll is the kind of guy who, and you can't blame him, when he is on the hot seat, as he will be this season, is not the kind of guy to go down without being in total control. He's the kind of guy who will do everything he can. He's going to take power into his own hands. He's the coach. He's going to go down. He's not going to go down with Kafka calling the plays. He will go with my strength, which is my play calling. If I get fired because I didn't do my job, not because my lieutenants didn't do their job. It says, regardless of the outcomes and how everything was settled in the past month, the pressure is on Daboll and company this year to try to steer the organization back in the right direction after a disappointing 2023 season. Now, I think this is, I believe it's Kafka's last season, I think, for a contract, just from what I read before. So, quite possibly Kafka could be gone after the season, regardless, anyway. But, I mean, if things are going to start getting a little lukewarm, right, for Daboll, the leash is starting getting a little short, right? Once again, it makes sense, right? Now, if I'm going down, I'm going down. I'm the captain of the ship. I'm going down. I'm steering the ship. I'm not gonna, go down with the ship, right? While I'm taking a nap someplace, right? No, I'm calling the plays, right? And it's the same, like after '83, the Giants were 3-12-1. Bill Parcells was trying to be Mr. Nice Guy, this, that, and the other thing, and all and everything. And he said that, after '83, there was some rumors and rumblings and some talkings and all that he may not be back for '84 because they were 3-12-1. Let's not forget, in 1981 they went to a playoffs, right? He had a good defense on. They were 3-12-1, and I'll tell you what, if you ever see the Monday night game against the Cardinals where they tied them 20-20 in overtime, what a freaking absolute pathetic, sad football team they looked. Absolutely horrible. So, but what happens, is that Parcells got a second chance, right? It's the '84 season. He's like, if I'm going down with the ship, I'm going down with my guns a blazing, baby, right? I'm going to be, not going to be the easiest guy to work for, right? I'm going to be a little nastier, right? So if we're going down, I'm going down my way, right? It's the same thing with Daboll, right? If my seat's going to start getting a little high, because they got to show something. I'm not saying they got to go to the Super Bowl or the championship game or anything like that, but they got to show some improvement, right? This is the third season. This will be the third draft for, especially with Shane, right? We got to start seeing. You start getting up. You draft and bringing in like about over 20 different guys. We need to start seeing a little bit of some improvement here. So they gotta look better than they did last season. As I said, I understand. If Daboll's seat's going to get a little warm, he's going to be calling plays. So, but as I said, once again, I can't blame either guy. I can't blame Kafka for wanting to leave. I want to call plays. If I can't call them here and somebody else is going to allow me to call plays, I'll go there. Right. So it is what it is. All right. Then next. I seen this here. What is this? From Yard Barker. 3 splash moves for the Giants to make. I'll tell you, I don't know what this. This is like, my goodness. 3 moves that they got here for the Giants. So the last one's not too bad. I can see it. The last move I can see, but anyway, the first one, all right, get the number 1 pick. And we're talking splash plays, right? In this article from Yard Barker, right? Most mock drafts don't account for trades, and many have LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels falling into the Giants' lap at number 6, but that's highly unlikely. I don't know how those 3 quarterbacks are going to one of them is going to make it to number 6. I don't see that happening. But New York wants a franchise quarterback, and they should. They'll need to move up for him. NFL.com's Ali Bonpuri believes it would take at least 3 first-round picks plus a three first-round picks plus a second and a third-round selection to get the number 1 pick from the Bears. Wow. 3 firsts, a second, and a third. Oh, my God, to go up from 6 to 1. Wow. And it says, that's quite a haul, but if USC's Caleb Williams is as good as they say, it's a small price to pay. New York had high hopes for quarterback Daniel Jones, a number 6 overall pick, but after a pair of neck injuries and a torn ACL and 4 losing seasons, they say it's time to move on. Wow. All right, the next one is trade for Brandon Ayuk. New York's passing game ranked 31st in the NFL last season, while Ayuk was the league's 7th leading receiver, 1,342 yards with the 49ers. With just $570,000 in cap space for 2024, the 49ers will have to move players, and ESPN's Dan Graziano believes Ayuk could be the first to go. So, they're kind of like they're not anywhere near as bad as what the Cowboys are. My Cowboys, my guy, I think last I looked, I think they were like $20 million over the cap. I mean, holy crap. But it says here with the 49ers, they have just 570,000. That's the one problem, and they're lucky. I mean, they're lucky that, Purdy. I mean, Purdy's, I don't know when if he's still with the 49ers and all of this stuff and everything, what he's going to command as far as money. After his rookie deal runs out, I can't see him getting $50 million a year. But they're really lucky right now because Purdy is on, he's making nothing. Yeah, he's Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, you don't make much money when you're Mr. Irrelevant. But could you imagine if when his salary goes up to whatever, 30, 40 million or whatever a year, they have like no money now. Right? I mean, could you imagine in the court, or might wind up working out with Shanahan by the time that, next season, or they might even draft a quarterback this year. Right? If one of them falls into their laps, maybe in the first round or in the second round, something like that with Shanahan. Who knows? I mean, they could draft a quarterback in the first round, trade Ayuk, right? Maybe get something in return for Ayuk, right? Which I'm going to go over here. I'm not sure what they're talking about as far as trade, but trade Ayuk, get rid of him. But I'm saying is also in the second, there's a ton of good wide receivers out there. So in the second round, the 49ers can pick themselves up a wide receiver to replace Ayuk. Right? It'd be a lot cheaper, a whole heck of a lot cheaper. All right, anyway, what do we got here? Ayuk would surely be missed, but with all of the massive cap numbers the Niners are projecting for their veterans in 2024 and in future years, at some point they're going to need to move on from some of their stars, Graziano says. To me, the most likely way this shakes out is Ayuk ends up getting traded to a team where he's the clear number 1 wideout and where he can get the extension he wants. True. Let's see. Ayuk has 1 year left on his rookie deal, and the Giants have more than $26 million available cap space. If the team can't trade up for a quarterback, the 49ers wide receiver would make a great consolation prize. Well, I mean, the Giants could also draft a number 1 wide receiver with pick number 6. They're prime. There's one of those 3 receivers is going to be there. Almost guaranteed going to be there, right? So they if they want, they can draft a number 1 wide receiver, and it's going to cost them about $7 or $8 million, but they'll have him for 5 years. Okay, now the fifth year, right? If they pick that up, it's not going to cost them $7 or $8 million. It's going to be quite a bit more. But it'll be a lot cheaper than if he was the number one wide receiver. My goodness, in 4 or 5 years from now, what a number one wide receiver is going to want, 35, probably maybe $40 million a year. Right? So instead of getting Ayuk, right, trading for him, you have to having to give up draft capital to get him. You got him for one season on the cheap, and then, right? The Giants, I could see the Giants just drafting themselves a dog with pick number 6 overall. But anyway, so they don't talk about what the compensation would be to trade for Ayuk. I mean, it would have to be, I'm sure it'd have to be at least a second round pick. At least. All right, so. All right, and finally, the last one here, they got signed DeAndre Swift. Okay. The 3 splash plays that the Giants can make. Signed DeAndre Swift. Philadelphia's Pro Bowl running back finished the regular season with 1,049 yards, 5th most in the NFL. He also stayed relatively healthy, playing 16 games for the first time in his 4-year career. Also, they're talking about he stayed relatively healthy for the first time in his career. So that means he's also had some injury history. So we're going to trade. We're going to go out and sign a guy who's been injured. Free agent Saquon Barkley can't say the same after missing 3 games. He missed just 3 games out of 17, right, with a high ankle sprain. More importantly, after 1,489 total touches in 74 games played, Barkley's best games could be behind him. Swift, on the other hand, has been used sparingly with just 788 total touches in the last 4 years. So basically, Barkley's had almost, I mean, not in the past 4 years, but, Barkley's had more touches than Swift has. So his 229 carries in 2023 were a career high, and he still averaged a healthy 4.6 yards per carry. But let's not forget he's running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. So let's keep that in mind. So Saquon's numbers would be a lot better if he ran behind the Philadelphia Eagles line. Everything's all relative, guys. You run behind a crappy offensive line, you're not going to get many yards per carry. You run behind the best offensive line in football, or just maybe not the best, but the top 2 or 3 offensive lines in football, your average yards per carry is going to go up there, right? According to Spot Track, the free agent running back should cost roughly $3 million less per year than Barkley, and could even help New York's dismal passing game as a reliable checkdown option for Jones. So, yeah, he would be cheaper. He's younger, right? He has more tread left on his tires. DeAndre Swift, I'm talking about. So, but the things like with Ayuk, I mean, or like with a Higgins or Ayuk, things like that, or the thing, because like if you're going to get a Higgins, I mean, especially if he's like a free agent, you gotta sign him. It's like you're looking at to bring him in right off the bat. It's like. What Higgins going to want, man? $25-30 million a season. Draft your dog. Pick 6. It'll cost you $7 or $8 million a year. Right? Wouldn't you rather pay? Got $7 or $8 million a year for the next 4 years instead of paying $30 million a year for the next 4 years? Right? So, I would much rather see us just draft a wide receiver with pick number 6 overall. But I mean, my God, they're talking about moving up to get Caleb, moving up to get pick 1. Might cost 3 first round to go from 6 to 1, a second, a third, and 3 ones. Holy cow! Wow, that's just straight up crazy. Straight up crazy. All right, and we have, let's see here, Giants likely to use their second pick on a quarterback. Interesting, from Giants Wire. In public, New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll remain committed to and confident in quarterback Daniel Jones. Well, that's what they say. However, in private, the regime may be regretting their decision to sign DJ to a 4-year, $160 million contract. Yeah, but also, let's not forget, they signed him to that, but they can get out after 2 seasons. The way the contract was written, get out after 2 seasons. Ryan Dunleavy says, I don't believe from my sources that they view Daniel Jones the same way that they viewed him at this time last offseason when it was like, we cannot lose Daniel Jones. Do I think there's a chance he's still quarterback one going into next season? Yeah, I do, Dunleavy said. But that does not mean the Giants don't intend to address the position. Shane has been transparent about their needs as quarterback, with Jones coming off a torn ACL and Tyrod Taylor likely hitting free agency. They could sign a veteran in free agency. Dunleavy believes they'll also select a quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft, albeit with their second pick and not necessarily number 6 overall. I said, I don't know. One of those top 3 quarterbacks fall into the Giants at number 6, unless they go up and get one of them. And I don't know, just listen to the draft gurus and all that. If there's anybody there, you draft the best, for the most part, the best player available, right? Not position, right? It's not, well, pick 6, the top 3 quarterbacks are taken. Who's the best quarterback left? We might have a late first round grade on this guy, but we need a quarterback. So we're going to draft. No, you don't do that. You take the best player available. He said, I think there's a very good chance that they use their second pick, whether that's a second round or trade up to a second to get a second first round pick, which is possible. I do think there's a chance that what they end up doing at quarterback, Dunleavy said. And then you're looking at the J.J. McCarthy's, Michael Penix's, and I don't know about him. The dude with this injury history, they say Bo Nix or someone like that after picking a Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors at 6. Absolutely. Man, get yourself your dog of a wide receiver. You have, well, you still have Slayton, right? But you have Robinson, right? You have Waller, he'll be in there for a little bit, right? But you got Hyatt. Get yourself a Odunze or Neighbors, right? So you got your wide receiver set. Okay, you can still also, you can address the your offensive line in your second round as well. You can maybe bring in a guard or something like that, maybe free agency, whatever. So maybe you can, address the offensive line. You got your wide receivers, right? And then, as I said, then you take one of those, the second tier of quarterbacks. Now, obviously, now, do I think, those guys, we're going to be obviously maybe as good as a May or a Daniels or a Caleb Williams or something like that. Possibly not. But, Daboll's done some pretty good things, right? Especially not in calling plays, but obviously he did some pretty good things with Josh Allen. So do I think, the second wave of quarterbacks like a Penix and McCarthy and all of that are going to be as good as Josh Allen? Probably not. But we'll see. I mean, but they do need to do something at the quarterback position. Without crying, I'd be rather shocked if they didn't draft the quarterback. Let's see here. I do think there will be competition with Daniel Jones one way or the other, said Dunleavy. Ultimately, Dunleavy believes the decision of quarterback will provide the blueprint for the Giants' plans for Shane and Dable moving forward. If owners John Mara and Steve Tisch allow them to take a quarterback at number 6 overall, it indicates that they're not on the hot seat and will remain until at least 2025. But if they're on the hot seat, now see this is too, if Shane and Dable, they're on the hot seat. I don't. It's tough to say so much about Shane. I would definitely Dable if he's going to be on the hot seat, right? Especially if this season he's going to be in a hot seat, right? It's going to start getting a little lukewarm if things really aren't improving. He's on the hot seat. To see him going out at pick 6 and drafting a quarterback that may not be fulfill his potential till maybe the second or third season or whatever. No, they're going to want a difference maker. They want to, somebody can come in and help out from day one, right? Somebody like a wide receiver. So that's a little interesting as well too. That is a little interesting, if what they were talking about, like if I don't know how much Mara or Tisch would step in the way or argue or whatever, as far as taking a quarterback at pick 6 or whatever. But I mean, if the Giants were to draft a quarterback at pick 6, that would definitely give Dable. He's got to have at least 2 more seasons. You got 2024 and 2025, right? Because you can't, because he's bringing in his own quarterback now. You got to give him a couple of years. That would give him a little bit of time, because you can't have him draft a quarterback at number 6, right? And put him on the hot seat, right? And then things don't go well this season, maybe with the quarterback situation or whatever. You fire him, you bring somebody else in. They're like, yeah, I really don't like May. He's not my quarterback. I mean, the next freaking thing you want to do is have another coach come in and say, yeah, your 2 pick 6s ain't their cup of tea, right? Bring in maybe a well-established coach or an up-and-coming coach or whatever, right? And have them say, yeah, I don't like Daniel Jones and I don't like Drake May either. I don't like either one of them. I got to bring in my own quarterback. You know what I mean? Right? So it's a tricky situation going on there. Very, very tricky situation. And then finally, I don't know this one. This one, I don't know. It says CBS Sports. I didn't quite understand this here, but here's what it is. Lists the Giants among teams poised to take a major fall in 2024. Now, I don't know. Did they see what the Giants did last season? It's a major fall. Last year they were 6-11, so major fall from 6. So they're going to lose. They're going to win like -5 games or something. I'm not sure. They're going to be like -5 in the win department and like 22 losses or something. Is that what's going? Is that what the major fall is? I thought last year was like kind of like a major fall. So I don't know. Maybe they think the Giants are going to go win this year. I don't agree with this here at all. But this is from Giants Wire. Well, it's not from Giants Wire. They're reporting it that CBS lists the Giants among teams poised to take a major fall in 2024. So the New York Giants had a great first season under head coach Brian Daboll, surprisingly making the playoffs and winning a road playoff game. Daboll won Coach of the Year honors for his efforts that season, but the Giants followed that up with dropping 6-11 in 2023. Yeah, did you see all the injuries that we had? I mean, the disappointing 2023 campaign was due in large part to injuries with multiple, from Daniel Jones, our left tackle, our starting running back, Darren Waller. Yeah. However, the errors extended further, including bad roster management, poor coaching, and poor play on the field. Now that's very fair. That is very fair. Very fair to say. Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports doesn't expect any of that to change in 2024. So we had good play on the field, and that was a mirage in 2022, and that was a mirage. Good call, good coaching. Now we have bad coaching, but the bad coaching is going to stay and the bad play. Okay, all right. In his list of 5 teams poised to make a major fall next season, the Giants were ranked among them. Let me see here. I got this here. Here we go there. He's got the Browns, the Saints, the Broncos, the Vikings, and the Giants. Interestingly enough, the Giants had the worst record out of all those teams, but he thinks he says all those 5 of those teams are ready to take a fall, a major fall. Says there were some teams that really weren't as good as their record indicated, and one of them was the Giants. Even though they finished 4-3 in their last 7 games, was there any reason to feel optimistic about the team at the conclusion of the season? Yeah, for me, with all the injuries they had, and they kicked the living crap out of the Eagles in the final game of the season. I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah. Last time we beat the Eagles, George Washington was in the office. We beat them 27-10, and it wasn't even close. We were far superior to them. And I tell you what, I can't remember the last time we walked off the field against the Eagles, and I was like, damn, we kicked their ass. We're good. Well, we're not good. I mean, we were bad. We were a lot better than they were on the field. I can't remember the last time I said that. Right? Saquon Barkley, the best player on offense. Yeah, I mean, that is true, too. That finished 29th in points per possession and 30th in yards per possession is a free agent. Daniel Jones was horrendous last season. Behind us, that horrible offensive line. I don't know what quarterback could have been good last season behind that offensive line. It says the Giants are on the hook for $47 million cap hit with Daniel Jones in 2024 for a quarterback who may not even start the year. Even if Jones plays, he'll be playing behind an offensive line that's perpetually poor. Well, that's why we brought in our new, offensive line coach. Right? I mean, hopefully, Brazil will be able to straighten things out there. That's why we got rid of good old Johnson, right? Defense coordinator Wink Martindale also left, as the Giants will have to learn a new scheme under Shane Bowen. Fortunately, there's talent in that group, even if they are 20th in points allowed per possession last season. The Giants were a bad football team last season and may be worse. They may be better, though, too, right? With the defense being the best unit on the field in 2023, losing Wink Martindale could have a big impact. The offense could also take a major hit if they lose Saquon Barkley in free agency. Yeah. But I mean, losing your star running back compared to, I would rather lose a star running back compared to maybe having a star wide receiver gone, right? I mean, you can certainly, make up for some of Saquon with having a little committee approach, bringing in a Swift or somebody like that, drafting another running back, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, right? Certainly with free agency and the NFL draft still on the horizon, it's a little early to determine how the Giants will fare in 2024. However, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Big Blue will be even worse in 2024, which could lead to yet another head coach and potentially general manager search for this time next year. I mean, the one thing is, without question, is that, I've said this, I don't know however many times, in my videos, I said, if you go back to, 2014, you see what the Giants of success have had from 2014 to 2023, span of 10 seasons, right? How much success have we had? We won one playoff game, right? We went to 2 playoffs, right? We won one playoff game, right? We went 3 playoff games, but went to playoffs in 2 seasons out of those 10. So we've had no success, whatever, in those 10 seasons, 2014, 2023. All right. You go from 2014 to 2023, we've had 5 coaches. Each coach has been 2 seasons. Coughlin, 2014 and 15. McAdoo, 16, 17, 18 and 19. Shermer, 2021 was Judge. 22 and 23 was Dable. Right? 2. Right? We've had 3 general managers. That's not a recipe for success. Every 2 years changing your head coach. You can't do that. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to maybe bite the bullet, right? And try to ride it out. Try to ride through the storm. Maybe give Dable an extra year or so or whatever before, or whatever, right? Keep Shane or, I'm not saying Shane would be, the first one to go would be the head coach, would be Dable, right? But we've had 3 GMs in the past 10 seasons. We've had 5 head coaches. We've had no success. So somewhere along the line, you're going to have to ride it out, right? Because it's a recipe for disaster every 2 seasons, because you bring in these free agents and you keep drafting these guys, and then you bring in a new regime and they go there and they look at your guys and they're like, yeah, they're not my guys. I'm not. It's cool. I love to be the coach of the Giants and all, but these aren't my guys. Yeah, I'm going to have to bring in my own guys. Yeah, sorry. Yep. If you want me, I'm going to have to bring my, So then you bring the coach comes in and he gets rid of, jettisons a few of the guys, brings in his own guys, and then things go crappy once again, right? And you bring in a new coach, and he turns around and is like, "Yeah, if you want me to, I'll coach you. I'll coach the Giants. That's cool, but these guys ain't my guys. I'm gonna have to bring them. You can't keep doing that. You can't keep doing that, right? Unless you can get Jesus Christ to come here and coach a team or something like that. You can't keep doing it. Somewhere along the line, you're gonna have to ride it out for a little bit, And I think quite possibly, if anything, Shane and Dable might be the beneficiaries of that. Because somewhere along, as I said, you gotta put the flag, down and say, we got to change things up, and it's like what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Firing the head coaches after every 2 seasons or whatever, 2, 3, and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. It's not happening, right? So somewhere along the line, right? If you have conviction in your coach and your general manager, and as far as turning the stuff around or whatever, you might have to ride it out a little bit with them. It is what it is. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 1 minute. Anybody spent any time listening to me live? Thank you. If anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.